Mike Cardano with the Roto Experts and the Fantasy Sports Network here with you on this Tuesday, April 15th. And I've got some selections for you in daily fantasy that should help with the odds of winning your matchups tonight in your favor. But first, let's talk a bit about last night's picks. Bryce Harper was a standout last evening, going 3 for 4 with a single, double, triple, a run scored, and an RBI. As we discussed yesterday, this one was going to be a no-brainer as his price was being suppressed because of the lefty-on-lefty matchup. But he'd already proved that he could hit Brad Hand hard last week by taking him deep. So there you have it. Now, Homer Bailey. It's a different story here. He's quite a controversial topic as his parents obviously knew what they were doing when they named him Homer. Another 4 home runs given up last night in just 5 innings, and it seems that everything that gets hit in the air against him goes out of the ballpark. But that Reds-Pirates game was nuts. After 6 innings and a combined 10 home runs, the game was suspended, tied at 7-all due to all the rain or because all the balls they had went over the fence. They'll have to finish that one today. As for Bailey, my premise on picking him up proved to be right, as the Pirates are whiffing at an alarming rate, and Bailey struck out 9 of them in just 5 innings. Now that was good enough for 9 points on FanDuel, which was enough to help me to a win, and hopefully it did right by you as well. But either way, with 6 home runs given up in just 14 innings pitched to start the season, Bailey clearly has some homer issues. All right, on to today's action. We've got a 100% chance of weather today and some nasty rain and wind that may affect games in the Northeast, particularly in Baltimore, New York, and Philadelphia. So factor that into your lineup decisions and stay tuned for possible delays or postponements. Now, Edwin Encarnacion, who went 3 for 4 with his first 2 RBIs of the season Sunday, is 12 for 34, batting .353 against tonight's Minnesota Twins starter, Phil Hughes. Somehow he's just $4,100 on DraftKings, which places 20 other first basemen ahead of him. Now, I looked at that one 3 times, and it's not a mistake, so go ahead and lock him in before someone realizes there's a goof. All right, now that I just saved you a chunk of change, we're going to go and spend some of that savings on tonight's highest priced pitcher. Last Thursday, Steven Strasburg faced the Marlins, giving up a home run to Marcell Ozuna and 2 other hits while fanning 12 batters and walking just 1 in 6 2/3 of a 7-1 victory. Now, at one point, he retired 14 straight, and he credits the success after a poor start to the season to a conversation that he had with Ian Desmond, where his shortstop suggested that he stop the Houdini act and stop trying to trick people and just attack the strike zone. Well, it worked against the Marlins lineup on Thursday, and I think it works again today. Sometimes you get what you pay for, and if he pitches anything like he did last week against the Marlins, he'll be worth every penny. Cardinals catcher Yadier Molina was given a routine night off on Monday. They didn't need his help, winning 4-0, but he'll be back in there tonight, fresh as can be. Now, he's 10 for 20 in his last 5 games, and he's 12 for 21, batting .571 during the regular season against Brewers starter Marco Estrada. You need a catcher in daily fantasy tonight, and Molina is your guy. He's $5,100 on DraftKings and $4,200 on FanDuel. The first ever Fantasy Sports Network is here. In fact, you're watching it, and you can now take it with you wherever you go. The new Fantasy Sports Network mobile app is your season ticket to the latest fantasy news, information, and analysis. Get access to the live stream of television programming along with a suite of in-depth articles, on-demand videos, and podcasts. Fantasy Sports now goes wherever you go. The Fantasy Sports Network mobile app available now on iTunes. And for more daily fantasy coverage, tune in weekdays to the Roto Experts in the Morning Show with Scott Engel and Adam Ronis from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on the Fantasy Sports Network or on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio, Sirius 210 XM87. And for you West Coast folks, we don't ask you to wake up at 3 a.m. We're going to replay the show here on the network for you during your 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. time slot. And weekdays from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio, we've got the first word on Daily Fantasy with coverage from Dr. Roto and Tony Sincata, along with Daily Fantasy industry heavyweights Drew Dinkmeyer and Mike Leone, and some of the most well-known daily fantasy players in the space. So be sure to tune in for that. All right, good luck in your daily games, everyone, unless, of course, you find yourself matched up head-to-head or in a tournament against me. And in that case, I hope you stock your rosters with Cubs and Yankees this evening, where a rainout seems inevitable. But remember, it's not personal, just fantasy.